Alright, first movie of the year, Insidious, The Last Key. I don't have a lot of confidence, but I've kind of stayed away from all the reviews so far, so we'll see how this treats us. I'm going to try to do more of these little introduction things on my way to see the movie, just kind of giving you my pre-thoughts, and I'm going to use my GoPro because the iPhone is hard to maneuver while you're driving. I'm about to hit this guy. But here we go, Insidious, The Last Key. Hope I'm not late. I'm late. What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. First movie of 2018, I just watched Insidious, The Last Key. I can't believe this is the first movie of 2018. Already, we're off to a start. Now, I still have some movies I have to watch from 2017. I will not be reviewing those movies, such as Molly's Game and Darkest Hour, on this channel, but if you want to follow the link below in the description, it takes you straight to my Stardust account where I will be giving my reviews, my small little mini reviews of every movie I watch remaining in 2017 and, of course, in 2018. Now, let's talk about Insidious. I actually enjoy the first movie, the second movie, and the third movie. There are some that are weaker than others, but overall, this franchise has really kind of satisfied me, and it's one of the better horror franchises out there. Now, going into this movie, my expectations, like I said in the beginning of the video, they were low. I didn't love the trailer. There were some scares in there, and I'm like, all right, but I knew that if she can carry this movie as well as she's carried the other movies, because let's face it, she is the star of this franchise, then maybe this movie could turn out to be decent at best. And let's get right into it. You guys know how my reviews work. I like to talk about the good, the bad, and then give you my score. Let's talk about the good. Here's the good. You ready? I didn't hate this movie at all. It's one of those movies you go on Rotten Tomatoes, you look at the score right now. It's not very good, but I think people are giving this movie an unfair chance at life. It is the first week of January. Of course, there are going to be bad movies this month. It's the dumping ground for films. I don't think this is a bad movie. Now, is it a great movie? No. It falls into cliches, traps, and things like that we'll talk about here in a minute. But let's talk about the good things. And the best thing is, you know her, you love her. It's our old pal. Now, how old is she? I think 73, 74 years old. How often do you see a woman that old leading a film franchise? And not just a film franchise, a horror franchise. That's impressive, and she is fantastic throughout this whole thing. A lot of the times, the acting is, but a lot of the actors and actresses in this movie they're good. Now, there are one or two that kind of stand out like a sore thumb, and they're not great, but the acting as a whole impressed me in this movie. Another thing that impressed me was the direction. It wasn't great, it wasn't top-notch, didn't break any ground, but it was solid enough to carry you through the entire film and give you some jump scares, and I'm usually not a huge fan of jump scares. I think they're cheap, but if you can change the game and do some things that are different, I think that's impressive. Annabelle did it last year. I didn't think that was a great movie. I kind of feel the same way about this movie. I'll put it on that par. Provided some great jump scares. I think this movie does that. It also does a really good job of building tension. There are long, drawn-out scenes. Sometimes I think a little too long, but when they get to the point to where they scare you, they scare you. Listen, I don't get scared. I'll admit, I jumped one or two times. That's impressive. And this movie starts out on a great note. The first scene in this film was great. It really sets up some relationships and some problems, not just with the ghosts, but with the humans as well. I like the underlying theme of there are not only paranormal things at work here that are affecting other people, it's also people affecting other people. Now, later on in the movie, it kind of undercuts itself and kind of takes it away using some cheap things that I won't get into because that's spoilers, but I like the fact that they started to go that route. It's pretty good for a fourth movie in a franchise. And yeah, I said traps, I said cliches. This movie falls into those things a couple of times, more times than you would like. Look, I really enjoy the two sidekicks in the other movies, but in this movie, for some reason, the humor was really the problem. I think that's the biggest problem with all the Insidious movies. A lot of the times, the humor doesn't work. Here, a couple of things snickered here and there, haha, but later on when you're looking back, it doesn't really fit with the situation that they're in, and I just think if they would have taken that out, it would have been a lot better. The imagery, the special effects were great, but there are just so many problems within the scares and the scare tactics, things that fall into genre cliches. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I hate horror cliches. This movie just continuously, every time it does something really good, it'll fall back into that trap. I'm like, no, but then it changes the directions. I was very conflicted. And the ending, number one, it got a little cheesy, and I kind of expected everything that was going to happen, and two, it kind of sets up all these things that are going to happen, things that we have seen, of course, because this is a prequel, but it also does a good job at setting things up that we haven't seen yet. But I think those scenes were too long drawn out. They could have been cut because, of course, we know where the timeline falls. Overall, Insidious: The Last Key surprised me. I don't think it's a great movie. I don't even think it's a really good movie, but it is a solid movie. A movie that I didn't expect to give a fresh score to, but I will. I'm going to give Insidious: The Last Key a 62%, an okay way to start off 2018. Thank you guys so much for commenting, liking, and subscribing. First review of the year, first review of many to come. Like I said, check out the Stardust app for more stuff from me, and be on the lookout for some special videos to come soon. You guys are the absolute best, and I'll catch you very soon.